Hey buddy, what are you doing standing out here in the middle of nowhere reading a magazine?
Oh hey, I'm just reading a back issue of Guns and Ammo magazine from June of 1968.
Well, that's weird.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's got an article in here about Ruger's introduction of the Blackhawk in .30 carbine, a gun just like this one. And I'm going to make a video about that gun and the M1 carbine. You're welcome to join me if you can find me. I think we lost him. Hi, George here, and welcome to Tales from Target Suite, where I'll share my perspective on guns and shooting, and we'll have an adventure or two that'll make even a grown man smile. And I hope I didn't lose everybody with that silly intro, but hey, the June 1968 edition of Guns and Ammo magazine did indeed introduce the Ruger Blackhawk in .30 carbine, and they even recognized 54 years later that it would be a great combo video for Target Suite. And so here we are, slow to the table, but we're going to eat hearty. And I've really struggled here with what we're going to do, because there is so much information here about the M1 carbine, and of course that is the gun that introduced the .30 carbine round. And there is so much of a great story there. I'm going to ask you guys and girls, if you would like to see a video just about the M1 carbine, then I will do my homework and try to put together a video worthy of the very unique history of a gun that went from non-existence in early 1941 to over 6 million produced by 1945. But right now, let's put some rounds down range with this M1 carbine. And hey, I want to say thanks first of all to my friend Keith. I've known Keith now for, gosh, 35 years maybe, and he loaned me this M1 carbine. I believe it came from his dad. Keith, you can correct me in the comments, but I believe it came from his dad. I also want to thank my friend Roy, who loaned me this really nice Ruger Blackhawk in .30 carbine. I believe this is from 1997, and boy, Roy has really made this a fine shooting revolver, so we'll talk a little bit more about that in a little bit. But right now, let me get loaded up, and I'll show you the ammo we're going to use. I've got some Full Metal Jacket 110 grain rounds from American Eagle. I've also got some 110 grain, they call them hollow soft point rounds from Winchester. And I've got a very unusual bullet, a round from Underwood Ammo, and it is topped with the Lehigh Defense Extreme Cavitator. A really interesting bullet. But right now, let me shoot some rounds with the M1 Carbine. All right, here we go. Okay, there it was. All right, well, I can tell I'm shooting a little bit high at the farther I get out, and so we probably need to do a little bit of work on those sights. Plus, I'm shooting a little bit right. But I have already adjusted the sights on Roy's revolver because it was shooting very high and very right. So we've got that solved, and I should be able to put, let's load 6 rounds in this, and I should be able to put 6 rounds on steel. Well, I was about to get the heart before the course, so let's take a quick break and talk about this Ruger Blackhawk, and I'll give you some close-ups. But one of the distinguishing features about this particular gun is the trigger pull. And earlier I was going to talk about it and give you some bad information, so let's look at it firsthand together. 1 pound 5 ounces. And so it's not just the trigger pull, which is very sweet, but also the hammer pull on this revolver. And it's a testimony to Roy's magic. And Roy has a blog, by the way, and I hope you'll check it out. He's got some super articles. And if there's one thing I would say about Roy and his smithing, he may be an amateur because he doesn't get paid, but he does some fantastic work. So check out Roy's blog. And this gun, by the way, is still in the Ruger catalog, the 30 carbine, 7.5-inch barrel. Of course, it doesn't have the white grips, but the gun weighs 46 ounces. And if we round it up just a little bit, that's 3 pounds. And if you compare this guy with the M1 Carbine, which weighs 5.2 pounds, with sling, you realize how lightweight that M1 Carbine is compared to even a handgun. But what a beautiful revolver this is. Let's get back to some shooting. But yes, this gun was introduced in 1968, and it was introduced as a 3-screw, the original design of the Ruger Blackhawk. In other words, it did not have a transfer bar safety. And let's just see what we can do here. Oh yes. Well, I think it's time to shoot the M1 Carbine some more, but first thing I want to do is to give you guys a close look, and then we're going to talk about a few details of this particular gun that make it unique. It was made in 1943, and you can see that right here on the barrel. And the manufacturer of this rifle was the Inland Division of General Motors. And yes, that is the GM that makes Chevrolets and Buicks. But anyway, it's made by the Inland Division in 1943, and that number, as you can see, is stamped right there. And so this should be an original configuration, but it has been modified later in life, and it has been fitted with a new barrel band assembly, which includes now a bayonet lug. And so this barrel band, which should have originally been a narrow barrel band by itself, has a wider barrel band, and it's actually part of a larger assembly where we can hook an M4 bayonet right here. This one does have the appropriate handguard. It has 2 rivets right here. A lot of these have 4 rivets. They've been upgraded. But it also has a new trigger group because this one has a rotating safety instead of the original push button safety. And then the last big one, which I'm sure others are going to find details that I have missed, but this one has an adjustable rear sight, and it should have just had a flip-up sight with a flip-up large aperture for normal range and a small aperture for longer range. And so there you have it. There's some close-up look at the M1. Oh, I didn't mention that it does have an oiler right here in this slot. There's a rod that holds the sling in place, and that rod is actually an oiler. So it's a little can with a screw-off lid and a kind of a needle applicator to put oil in here. Anyway, the M1 carbine. Now let's shoot some more rounds. And I'm going to adjust that sight down and see if we can't get more rounds on target. Down at about 70 yards. Let's see. Okay, well that got it on target. Well, I'll tell you what, if you've ever thought that the M1 carbine is not an accurate rifle, then we need to go down there and take a look at what I just did at about 70 yards with the peep sights. And one adjustment, and it's going to be really quick. I'm not going to make you wait through all of that, but I can tell you that this round right here, the Winchester 110 grain hollow soft point, it had a muzzle velocity out of the Ruger carbine, 1,445 feet per second average. Out of the M1 carbine, it had a muzzle velocity average of 1,943 feet per second. Using the American Eagle ammo, the Ruger Blackhawk had a muzzle velocity average of 1,472, and the M1 carbine an average muzzle velocity of 1961. But then we get to this guy right here, the Underwood Ammo Extreme Cavitator rounds. Out of the Ruger Blackhawk, we got 1,633 feet per second. This is, by the way, is a 7.5 inch barrel, and I've already shown you what this one is. And the M1 carbine had an average muzzle velocity of, are you ready, 2125. Right now, I'll tell you what let's do. Let's shoot the ballistic gel, the modeling clay before the light leaves us. Okay, the first round we're going to shoot is going to be the left block with the Extreme Cavitator from Underwood Ammo. Okay, that's pretty impressive. Now let's shoot one round. Let's shoot one round out of the M1 carbine. Okay, this was the this is the one out of the M1 carbine, the first one. And the surface of the moon there was created by splatter from that target right there. But then we go around and look in the back. That's a pretty big cavitation. All right, let's go over here and check out this guy. Kind of reminds me of the officer in the Terminator that walked through one of the Terminator movies that walked through the bars. So I didn't dead center that one, but we got a pretty good cavitation there. Wow, what a great combination of guns. The M1 Carbine and the Ruger Blackhawk, both chambered in .30 carbine. And if you've got either one of these guns, you need to get the other. It just makes sense. Well, it does seem appropriate, since we're featuring a military rifle in this video, that we would break out the military Mule. And it is an M274 military Mule. It's got a 4x8 platform, 4-wheel drive, 4-wheel steering. In the back, it's got an opposed twin Hercules engine. Really neat power plant. All 4 wheels have got tie-down lugs for either sling loading this underneath a helicopter or tying it down to a pallet. The seat and all the controls, quick detach, and they bunker underneath for transport. The steering wheel actually releases back there, and it can be brought forward and down so that the driver can actually drag along the ground as he drives the vehicle using his hand and controls. And that way the bullets can fly overhead. What a great concept. It does have a 2-speed transfer case and 3 speeds forward, 1 speed reverse. They say if you made this today, it would cost in the neighborhood of $60,000 plus. A fantastic little buggy. Well, there it is, the M274 Mule. And I want to say to you guys and girls, thank you for watching. And if you've got any comments, whether they're constructively critical or encouraging, please join us down in the comments. And with that said, I will see you in the next video.